Come on.
Sky will make it rain.
Living his best life.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right into it. I want to give you guys some value. I'm a different Albert. I think you guys can see success. I think it's pretty evident. A lot of people talk about they make millions and they make a lot of millions, and I think at the end of the day it's how much you keep. And when you keep a lot of money, I think it shows. So I'm not here to talk about money, but I'm here to talk about what drives me, like what keeps me improving every year. I talk about 10 years of experience, 20 years of experience doesn't mean anything if you don't get better every year. I love America because America gave me a opportunity to create my dreams. So I'm Mexican American, so give it up for the USA, please. You'll see it with my core values. I don't like being around entitled people because nobody is gonna give you anything. Nobody has given me anything. I've earned it. I worked hard. I learned English the hard way. And I went through a lot of struggles and I figured things out. Like I was given a cold call book, a cold call list, farm package from Title. And they said, here's the list, make some phone calls. My first year in mortgages, I closed 4 deals and made 16 grand when I was making $9 an hour as a teacher assistant. Nobody taught me anything. I figured out everything. And when I figured out everything, I started making money, and then I started hiring mentors. And then mentors saved me a lot of time and took me to where I wanted to go faster. But this made me a fighter. All the kids calling me wetback, including the teachers, made me even more driven to one day show the world what I was about to become. It all starts with a vision. You gotta create a vision. So when I was 6, I told my dad, that's my dad and that's me. We used to go paint homes in Beverly Hills and Bel Air. And coming from the ghetto and driving a van, going to paint rich people's houses, I asked my dad as a kid, like, hey, how come we don't have a red Ferrari? And how come we don't have a big mansion like that? And my dad said, well, it's not for us. It's not for us. And I said, what do you mean it's not for us? And then he told me that if I worked really hard and I never quit it, that one day it could be for me. So I promised my dad that I would do that. And I lost everything. And that's when I met Sil. One day I went out, and good things came out from partying, by the way. I'm not saying go and party, but on one of those nights out, I met Sil. I saw this girl with beautiful legs and a nice short skirt, and even went like this. And my buddy, I told my buddy, hey, bring that girl. And I was always the leader of the crew, so I used to pay the tab, so my buddies would do anything for me. So they ran, brought her, then we talked for a little bit, went to In-N-Out across the street, and I got her number, and that number changed my life. And you'll find out why. Thank you, Sil. So I'm gonna say a quick story that I don't think you guys have ever heard. But in 2008, I had a house in Sierra Madre, that's Pasadena, and my house was being foreclosed. And I still had my S550, and a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, Sil asked me, hey, how did it feel to get your S550 Mercedes repossessed? Like, how did you feel when you saw it getting taken away? And she asked me, were you nervous? And I said, no, I wasn't nervous. Like, why would I be nervous? They're not doing anything to me. They're just taking my car away. So I said, I wasn't nervous. And she said, well, what did you do? And I said, well, they knocked the door. And I thought they were gonna kick me out because my home was under foreclosure in 2008. You guys can look it up. It's 261 Grove Street. Any of you can pull it up and you can see the records. And I was foreclosed. And this house I had plans for it. This house was gonna make me $1 million, but I messed them up because of the whole cocaine addiction, the partying, the bad people around me. So when they knocked, I thought they were kicking me out of the house, but then I didn't answer. I was just hiding in the back of my room, and then they just put the car and took the car, and then as the car left, I was angry, but I was angry at myself, nobody else. A lot of people right now with the changing markets, and when times get hard, tough, people find others to blame but themselves. So when they took that car, I was mad at myself. I was mad, and I couldn't believe everything that I did to myself. And I promised myself that I was never gonna put myself in that situation again. So every day I would go run. I still did my exercise. I would run for miles, go all around the neighborhood, down to the freeway, the 210 freeway Pasadena, and I would run for miles. And every time I would go on that run, I would ask myself, is this my last run in Sierra Madre? And I would cry, you know, the whole run. I started crying, but like a baby, like crying, like a baby. And I would run those 4 miles thinking maybe this is gonna be my last run. The only person I wanted by my side was Sil, so I called her, and then she said yes. She picked me up. I went and picked up my old Ford Explorer, and that's where we lived for 2 months. And people say, well, when did you hit rock bottom? Like, how hard did it feel? And it was not really rock bottom because I was still alive. And I still had life. And when you're alive, you're still in position to win. All the neighborhoods of my dreams, I would go to Huntington Beach, Newport Beach. I would go to the hills. I would go to Beverly Hills. And we would park there and sleep. And more have a good sex right there too. Talk about it all the time. For somebody my size, Ford Explorer is perfect. If you're like Patrick Bet-David, you need like a Suburban. I was always the cool Albert, the excited Albert. I was always the dreamer. I just had bad influences. But it's not the influence's fault. It's not me being around the wrong people. It was my fault because I put myself in that environment. And it was not until I said, I'm gonna leave that environment to put myself in a better environment that things started to change. An old buddy told me, let's go to see Tony Robbins. And I said, well, who's Tony Robbins? Why, for what? We end up going to see Tony Robbins. I didn't have any money. So I bought the $99 ticket. And I sat all the way in the back. And I heard the conversations from people in the back were like, this guy is ripping us off. This guy is so happy, always smiling because he's collecting all our money. And then I saw the people in the front. And those people in the front all had nice watches, nice cars, and all had $1 million story. I make $1 million, and they're always up on stage. And I'm like, wait, doesn't make sense for these people in the back that talk all this stuff. Like, they don't know what they're doing. It makes more sense for me to listen to the people in the front because they know what they're doing. They have the life I want. So it's very important to watch the source of your advice. So I started listening to better people. And I started only listening to those better people and not to the wrong sources of advice. You gotta ask people that have done it. So I started investing in mentors. One of my first mentors told me invest in real estate. And I wanna tell you guys that I made so many mistakes. I lost millions of dollars, and I've made millions of dollars. But I lost so much money, and if you guys can leave here today and take some of my mistakes and learn from them so you don't make those $1 million mistakes. Just to give you guys an idea, we just moved to the building you saw in the video. That building, we have the entire top floor. It's $100 grand a month. That's $1.2 million a year just in office space. I was robbed another $1 million last year. So if you do the numbers, just $2 million like that, like easy. That would put a lot of people out of business, not me. But that saved my life in the beginning. I'll get into that story later, but that saved my life. So if you guys don't have real estate right now, you need to hurry up and buy some real estate. And if you're a first-time buyer, go get a property and use FHA as financing. because FHA allows you to get 4 units with only 3.5%. That's nothing. And when you get 2 units, you get a higher limit in loan amount. 3 units increases the loan amount. 4 units, you could buy something very expensive with that. The mentor told me, Albert, don't buy this single family. I opened escrow in the single family. And there I go again, because you always have that bad voice in your left ear or right ear, wherever that is. You have a bad voice. And then my mentor told me, hey, Albert, you're gonna get yourself into problems again. Stop getting a house and go get a 4 unit and finance it FHA. So I got an FHA house. I financed FHA, but I got a 4 unit property in South Central in the ghetto. Cost us $6,000. We remodeled it, we rented it, and then that unit started cash flowing. You gotta find a girlfriend that is willing to buy a 4 unit as well. That way you can get 4 and 4, and your girlfriend can live in one, and then you live in the other one. And then you get 4 units and 4 units. And that's what me and Sil did before we got married. Then we got more properties, and it turned out to be, it built up like $2 million in equity that paid off later in our life. We scaled and built companies. So number 1 was the mortgage guy that became the mortgage guys. And that was a crazy story. Like, I was going out of business all the time. And then a year and a half later, we opened Ambiance Realty, because I figured that if I had a real estate company, then we would also get mortgages fed, because every time you buy a house, you need a mortgage. And then I said, well, I have a bright idea. You know what? Let me just offer Ambiance Realty. And a lot of you know that story. I'll offer them 100% commission, and I'll attract a lot of agents. But really quickly, I found out that just building a company it's not that easy to attract a sales force, to attract good people into your company. So you need people to scale. If you don't have people, you don't scale. You need an army. If you're gonna do something, you gotta go all the way, all in, and you gotta make it big. You can't do little shit. Like, we don't take small steps, we take huge steps. Last year's Driven, to give you an example, costed us over $1 million to put together. So you can imagine how much money and how big Driven has grown. So then all the companies start growing, they start scaling. Then we open escrow, because whenever you do real estate, you need an escrow, you get a mortgage. And then Driven, it's going on 7 years. So I focused on top line, and we built a lot of cash, a lot of flows of income. And we built the life that we built today. I haven't flown commercial in 2 years. So I don't say it to brag, but I stopped flying commercial when they were forcing my daughter to put a mask on. And I said, enough of this. I'm never flying commercial again, when COVID happened. And that's what forced me to increase my requirements of myself. And that's when we started flying, private, and then we build and build and build, and we got to the point where we are today. And I figured, you know what, life is good. And I started getting a little bit, maybe too confident. And I started thinking, man, you know what, maybe from here on, it's gonna be roses and flowers, and everything is gonna be great. We're making so much money, and everything looks perfect. And because we were making more money than ever. Like, I have more money than ever today. Me and my family, we have the best life ever. And that's how we were last year. Last year we were like, not as good as, we're fine. We're like having the best life ever right now. But last year, in October, I'm feeling like, great, I have everything. What else do we need? We don't need anything else. And then this happens. was a nasty feeling, as you can imagine. And we were in Rob's wedding, so we went to a wedding in New York, and my dad was gonna stay that night. And they stole, I had a Richard meal there that was like $500,000 now probably, and I had $40K cash. They stole that, and then they went in, and they went straight to the safe, took the safe out, and then they took it. And I know that if my dad would have been there by himself, something nasty could have happened. So that once again reminded me of my drive. That again woke me up. And when you start feeling comfortable, that's when people attack you. So you always have to remain paranoid. You always have to remain the aggressor. And you always have to remember, what is your drive? For me, I found out that my drive was my family. Because what Andy talked about, what E.T. talked about, that's your family, your workforce. You need a team. With a team, you'll go all the way. By yourself, you'll stay where you are. You'll be capped. So my family goes beyond our companies. It goes to all the people that I inspire and that I touch their lives and that I can be help to them. So I believe that God put me in here to change a lot of lives and to do something special, because I should have been dead many times. I was faking it till I made it. I was making $2-3 million a year, spending more than that. But one thing that I did do right was all the money, I reinvested it back into the business. Everything that I did went into the business, to growing the business. Everything that I did needed to grab attention and flow it back to the business. That's why we build a brand. We invest in people. Without people, you are nothing. We have a lot of help, but in the beginning, I was scared to invest in people. Now, I love investing in people because you buy time. Rich people buy time. Poor people waste time. So for the longest, I was faking it till I made it, and everybody made fun of me. I got my first Ferrari, and people were saying, oh, he leases it. Yeah, they were right. Oh, he's living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, they were right. Oh, he hasn't filed his taxes. You're right. Everything, they were right. Yeah, I'm barely making it, but I got balls. You guys don't. They're just hating because I'm taking risks. They weren't taking risks. In order to become mega wealthy, you gotta take huge risks. But when I became a father, I never wanted to be a dad that couldn't look their daughters in the eyes because he was still faking it. I'm 39, guys, so I'm gonna be 40 next driven. So it's a different Albert. I learn a lot of things. I continue to learn every day. To me, my responsibilities to everybody is to be a better leader, to keep improving, to become a better person in general. I hope that you guys get the most out of today. You guys get ideas, and I know you're gonna get so many ideas, but if you take one or two things and you execute, I promise you that your business, your life is gonna change forever. Don't try to do 1,000 things or 100 things. Take one or two things. Every time I went to a seminar, I got one or two things, and I went back and I executed. The hardest part is execution. That's what everybody messes up with. You go and you get so many ideas, you get mentorship, you pay a lot of money for mentorship, for seminars, and then you blame it on the mentor. You blame it on the seminars, you blame it on the company. But the only person you need to blame is yourself. Because when you come home to your kids, to your family, you don't see your kids. You're so much time away from your kids. So what are you doing? You want to come back and show them what you're doing. You want to lead by example. You want to go out there and you want to execute. Or else, what's the whole point of starting a business, being an entrepreneur, partnering up with another person? Whatever you do, if you do, go all the way, go all in, because halfway never works. Hard times are the easiest times. I say life is easy a lot. I mean it. When times get hard, that's the easiest time to become number one. Last year, we had a lot of mortgage brokers. We got some lender reps right here, I saw. You know what, you have ability to pull data. How are all the mortgage brokers doing? Everybody that was close to us, they're down. We're up. We're one of the top in LA. If we're one of the top in LA, that tells me we're one of the top in California and in the US. So when hard times happen, most people look outside to point the blame. But when you have unity, when we stick together as a family and we help each other out, we cheer each other up, we support each other, you win. And whenever you think like, oh, I have this huge event, or I have this huge meeting, and you prepare and prepare and prepare, expect things to happen and just fight through them. Because if everything is easy, you don't grow. When things are easy, you don't grow. When things get tough and more complicated, that's when life brings out the best out of you. When times get like this, complicated, that's when it brings the best out of you. That's when you recreate yourself. These are the hugest opportunities. You know, when people contract, when businesses contract, you expand and you take over because there's nobody there fighting. Everybody has their heads down. That's when you go out for the knockout. People are being forced right now to work hard. A lot of people are forced now to work hard. They can't work their 4-hour work week or 15-minute week anymore. Now they gotta go out there and work hard. For me and Sil, we're not changing it. We're not changing any of that because we've worked hard all the time. We've been working 16, 18 hours a day for the last decade. We can't work more than that. But you know what we could change? Saying no to more people. Saying no to more dinners. Saying no to more lunches. Saying no to more events. Just because there's an event doesn't mean you have to go. There's no ROI going to a 99-cent event. What value are you gonna get? You gotta use your time very wisely and prioritize. You guys have mentors? I have a mentor. Why wouldn't you have a mentor? Like when I wanna build a business, I want the blueprint. So if that blueprint costs me $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, I'm gonna pay for that blueprint. So I'm gonna hire a mentor and I'm gonna fly to him. I'm gonna fly him private. I'm gonna pay this mentor $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 because this mentor built a $6 billion lending company. We have a lending company. I'm gonna go and pay whatever to a mentor that built a $1 billion real estate company because they have the blueprint. I don't see that as an expense. I see that as an investment. Rich people focus 95% on creating income. That's why I'm so confident of everything. I'm not scared of spending $1 million. People ask me, what are you studying right now? What's your self-improvement look like? I do a lot of self-improvement. Every day I get better because if I don't get better as a leader, then my people are gonna leave me. I gotta lead by example. I gotta create a better Albert every day. I gotta get better. I can't stay the same. The more money you make, the harder you work, the more intelligent you work. What changed our businesses completely in this year was having a brand. A lot of small businesses don't have a brand and they were affected, especially real estate and mortgage. Building a brand will scale your business like you have no idea, because it doesn't matter how good you are. I see a lot of people that study, do a lot of self-improvement. They know all the guidelines. You know everything. You overstudy, but nobody knows you. If nobody knows you, nobody pays you. The more people that know you, the more sales you're gonna make, the more money you're gonna make, the more people you're gonna help. It doesn't matter if you're the best speaker if you don't have an audience. It doesn't matter. Some people focus too much on systems and operations, but it doesn't matter how much you focus on systems operations if you have the best, if you don't have any sales. So it's very important to have the 4 fundamentals of business that work for me: sales, marketing, systems, and training. You need all 4. You can't skip one if you want to build a big business. So if you guys don't have a brand, you don't have to become verified and 1 million followers at once. But I ask people like, hey, so what are you doing with your social media? And then they're like, oh yeah, well, it's hard. And I'm like, it is gonna be hard to grow it if you don't post. People don't post. They post every other month. They don't post anything, so how are you gonna grow if you don't do that? And once again, once you start growing it, you have to invest in your brand. This is one of my key principles in business. 95% of my time is focused on income. 5% on expenses. I don't worry about expenses. Sales always like, why are you spending on this? Why are you spending on that? Why are you spending on that? And I'm like, focus on making more income. When you focus on making more income, you don't worry about expenses. More income solves a lot of problems. So whatever your industry is, focus on becoming a master an expert in your industry. You gotta know your industry like nobody else. That makes you powerful. So along the years, I learned that there's a lot of things that I need to get better at. There's a lot of things that I need to learn. But focusing on your industry, you gotta become an expert in it. I think everybody here could cut 1 or 2 people in your life right now. Maybe there's one, if you wanna take one more takeaway, when you exit that door, cut one person out of your life, and that'll make a big difference. You have one person that whenever you meet that person, all they talk about is gossip. All they talk about is drama. All they talk about is complaints, negativity, bad news. Like, I already have enough things that take over my thinking space. I don't need to hear those things. I don't have any seconds for that. Cut people out of your life. Say no to them more often. It's okay. Right now, you gotta tell those people, hey, you know what? I'm just really busy. I'm focused because right now, I'm being required more because I gotta take care of my family. My family depends on me. I don't care what other people say, because all that time you could use it to make yourself better. Learn, get better, improve yourself. You don't have time for that stuff. Even though I lived in LA, I moved to another broker that was like 60 miles away from where I lived. But it was a different environment. But I moved because I knew that, hey, you know what? Even though it's farther, I'm gonna put myself in a better environment with people that are ethical, have integrity, have a great attitude. I moved there, and all of a sudden my business just started doing better. And then every time that I increase or improve my environment, it just gets better and better and better. So make sure you're in the right environment. If you're not, maybe it's time to make a change. Or maybe the problem is you. Maybe you're the one that's messing up the environment. Always start with you. Michael Jordan was a beast, but he never won a championship until that culture arrived. That's when Phil Jackson arrived. The winning culture. When you have a winning culture, it weeds out the weaklings. People don't want to be around a strong culture. Weak people don't like that. Weak people don't feel comfortable. Create a culture of winners. Okay, our culture is we have the best parties. We have the best champagne, right, Mike? We don't have Corbel at our parties. We don't have cheap shit. We have the good stuff. When we work out hard. When we're going over production, we have a lot of competitors, people that want to be number 1. Nobody wants to be number 2, number 3. Everybody wants to be number 1. When we fly, when we win, and all the top people get rewarded and we fly out, no, we fly private. That's the culture we have, like winners, like the best. We're not softies. And if you guys, sometimes I'm a little hard or say certain things, it's because I want to get the best out of you. If I get the best out of you, you're gonna thank me later. I don't build little pussies. And if you're a little pussy, maybe it's time to go find another job. It's okay. Because you don't win championships with softies. You want that strong culture in your business. I want to share this video with you really quick. This was outside of my office. Very important right now. I shouldn't be here once again. I don't know if you guys understood that video, but if you did, that could have been my last day. I didn't even know that Sil was pregnant for a third child. And I didn't know I was gonna have another baby. And when things like that happen, you realize that, you know what? Life is not that bad. Because all I wanted to do is be able to say bye one more time. I didn't know if they were gonna take my watch and shoot me and kill me. I didn't know that. So I want to thank God for giving me another day. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here and supporting us, supporting the event, and most importantly, supporting everybody here. Everybody here being the family. Now, when that happened, I want to tell you what I did right away. That happens, and right away Steph comes down. She's like, "Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? What happened? Do you want to go home? You want me to take you home? Like, you should go over get some rest." And I'm like, nothing happened to me. I'm okay. I got to get my workout in. After that, the cops didn't even get there. They got there late. And I'm like, dude, I can't wait for the cops. I got to get my workout in. 5 minutes after that, ask my team. I was working out in my office gym. I was having a workout. By the way, that watch, $500,000, another one. But I'm alive. I'm having a workout 5 minutes after that, because I gotta be in the training. We have trainings on Wednesdays. So I'm like, I gotta work out. The cop finally gets her, hey, I need to take the report. I'm like, take the report while I'm working out. It all starts right here. When you have a strong mindset, you're capable of anything. Of anything. If you are alive right now, you're capable of anything. Stop complaining. When you wake up, be thankful that you're up, because we have created a life where we don't need a vacation from. Every day I make sure that I live it like if it was my last day. Every day I never leave the house without giving my little daughters a kiss, because I never know if that's gonna be the last time. Good things happen to good people. I wrote you guys something really quick that I want to read for you. Okay? This event was created to show and teach the world what a driven individual is capable of. When you find your drive, you are capable of anything. Driven people think big, not small. For years, I wanted to speak on stage to tell my story, but I was always turned down. I wanted to tell my story because I thought it could help change lives. This is why Driven Event was created. I wanted to be an example that anything in life is achievable no matter where you come from or beliefs you adopt as a child. If a wetback dropout student was able to do this, so can you. When you are driven, you fear nothing. Today, we are alive because we are not done yet. I truly believe God is watching me because I was placed here to create something really big. Driven people don't quit. Driven people don't back down from anything. Driven people lead by example, and they let the results speak for themselves. I believe together and united, we can make a huge impact in this world where we come together and be remembered for centuries to come. When you are driven, you don't stop till you're done. Thank you, God, for giving me one more day of life. Thank you. I want to thank you all here. I love you all. Si se puede. Gracias.
You do me, I do you. Feed me lies and we'll find the truth.